Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast, Life with a Purpose. Today, I have a really different format, and I'd like to I'm going to have an interview with my son, Luke, and I'd like you to introduce my son, Luke Jerome. And I'm going to ask him a few questions of how it was and it is having a disabled mum. So, Luke, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. I'm Luke. I'm Mum's son. So yeah, nice to be on the podcast.
Yeah, it's nice to have you. All right, the first question I'm going to ask him is, what was it like growing up with a disabled mum that had little arms?
Well, for me, it felt pretty normal. It felt like having any other mum from what I could imagine, and having her, mum would care for me in her own way. Um, and yeah, it's just pretty normal.
Okay. Yeah, so when he was little, I would just nurse him in my legs or pick him up and just sit him on my lap. And a lot of the time I had him in the carry harness that you see a lot of mums carrying him around with. And he just took it all in his stride and just was very contented baby. And I was really blessed with that. He was very um, quiet too. All right. So when did you realise that your mum was different to other mums?
Um, Around my teens, I think I sort of realised that, oh, hey, I think mum's a little bit different to other mums. But um, yeah, yeah, about my teens, I think.
Okay. And so it really didn't bother you. No one said anything to you about it. You just suddenly one day realised that I was different to the other mums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
no one really asked me about that. Maybe they sort of didn't want to ask.
Oh, okay. Um, and you were busy with a lot of sport and soccer. I made sure you went to soccer and you loved cricket and involved with NLG Performing Arts for a time and yeah, just they say that to keep the boys and the girls active through their life and away from the keyboard and the iPads and the phones and yeah, it was just good to go out and I love soccer and cricket as well because I played it a little bit when I was older because I couldn't play when I was younger. And it was really, really good. So I thought that's what I'd do for Luke. I'd make sure he's outside and active. So, is there anything you want to say or share to those who have a disabled parent to help them go through it?
Yeah, I think all you can do is sort of do what you can and help out where you can, and sort of you don't have to be someone else. You can be yourself, and
Mm.
because you're part of that family unit, so what you give is exactly what you need to give, and yeah, you don't need to go over the top because you know they whoever's there, they can do some things, but don't baby them. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And that's what I said. I would always ask Luke to do something. I wouldn't expect him to do it. And because of my situation, I was able to use my legs a lot anyway. And just remember that your parent gave birth to you and already was doing things for you before you were a baby. It just made it easier as Luke grew up to help me with the little things just to make it quicker. But there was no problem that I couldn't do, but it just made it quicker for Luke. And well, when Luke was born, John did help me out. He's probably a fair few years older. I won't say it, he probably won't let me say it, but he helped me out. Like when Luke was a baby, he helped me put him in the car seat as a baby, a newborn, and things like that. Those little things I appreciate John doing. And then later on, Luke could do other things for me that where it just made it easier for me to do, but it didn't stop me doing it. I still had to do it, and as I said, I would never make Luke do things that I knew I could do. I just wanted him to be a part of my family, our family, and just and help with the little things. So, was it hard at any time having a disabled parent?
No, like I said before, it felt pretty normal. Um, I'm sure there were some hard times, but a lot of these things I took in my stride, and I didn't dwell on it. Um, I always got the kick in the backside when I did something wrong, and I knew
Yeah.
ways to get around it.
Yeah, he did. I did. I couldn't smack them with my hand, but I would just gently kick them, or depending on how angry I was, a little bit harder. But I made sure I didn't do it too hard. So, what helped, or who helped you get through, and even now helps you today?
Um, I think hanging around the family, and especially hanging around with Nan. Nan helped a lot because, you know, Nan, Mum's mum, knew Mum pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah,
So she always knew how I could help when Mum didn't want to ask, and stuff like that. But throughout Mum's life, and even now and still, and even before that, the Lord was really helping um, Mum and myself, because I believe that the Lord answered Mum's prayers through that. And so, yeah, the Lord really helped me get through it. Not that it was hard, but yeah, he definitely helped us get through it.
yeah, he did. He did. And as I said before, I never made John or Luke do things that I knew I could do, but it just some things made it quicker and easier if we were in a hurry. But generally, I was the mum and they were the kids living their lives, and I was just doing what I could do. And my husband Wayne would help when he was at home, when he was not working, and it was just really a good unit. And my husband was a good example to the boys. They saw him helping me, and they just knew how to help me at times as well. So yeah, so I hope that gives you a little bit of insight to Luke, my son, and what he had to go through and how it helped. And if anyone wants to contact me, or any person who has a disabled parent needs to contact me, I'll leave my email address down the bottom, which is sg.jerome419@gmail.com, and you can get in contact with me that way, and we can go from there. If you need any help from myself or my son Luke, any tips maybe, I don't know. But anyway, thank you, Luke, for coming. I really appreciate hearing your side of the story, and maybe I'll have you on again sometime later,
Yeah,
another time. But
it's,
anyway,
we'll get John and maybe Dad sometime soon.
yeah, maybe to John and Dad.
Make sure you follow us.
Yeah, follow us, and thank you everyone for watching. Hi everyone, welcome back. We just took a little break while my son came off the stage and was able to get ready to go back home. I was grateful to have him on. He had just finished night shift. He had a couple of hours sleep, and then he came down to do the podcast for me. So I thank you for him, the Lord for that, for him. And just before I do start, I just wanted to explain to some people why I'm sitting here, particular behind me, with in front of the cross. I'm actually at my church. They said I could use the church and the stage for my podcast, but we've got this cross here, and we've got the Australian flag with Jesus there, and it's just on the bottom. You can't really see it, but on the bottom it says faith over fear, and it's a sort of a not a motto, but it's something I live by. I have faith in the Lord that He won't disappoint, or that I can do through Him. I can do all things, and that my faith in Him is much stronger than fear. So that's why we have the cross here with the flag, and I wanted to particularly put that on my podcast as well, just to show, because my episode that I wanted to call after the interview with Luke is called I Am Free. Because remember, the last episode I made was thalidomide, a life sentence. Well, while it was a life sentence, having short arms, I was always free to do whatever I felt that I could do as a child. And it really, really helped me having the Lord in my life. And I just wanted to share another scripture, or a couple of scriptures that the Lord shared with me before this. He is sort of sometimes, He doesn't wake me up, but I do get up to go to the bathroom, and I just spend a few minutes with Him before I go back to sleep. And the Lord gave me this scripture, which comes from John 8, and it's verses 31 to 32, and then 35 to 36. So 31 to 32 says, Jesus said to those Jews who believed in Him, "If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." And that the Lord did. I knew the truth, and He makes me free. But also in 35, 36, I wanted to put this down. A son abides forever, or a daughter. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. And as I've said in previous podcasts, Jesus has always been my friend, and I felt free around Him, that I could be the woman, the girl and the woman of God that I am now. And I just always give honour to the Lord. And again, my favourite scripture is that Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth and the life." But whenever I look at Him, He shows me a way of doing things. And that really, really blesses me, because growing up I had to think about things, about what I wanted to do. And I'm just going to share a few stories that I remember, and whatever else the Lord shows me to do. But the first thing I wanted to do was just remind everyone that when I was a baby and a toddler, Mum was told just to let me figure out what I was able to do and how I could get things for myself. So I remember when I couldn't crawl on my hands and knees because, short arms to no arms, I learnt to drag myself across the floor. So if I saw a ball or a doll, or there was something across the floor, and I couldn't walk at this time, I would just get my left foot and drag myself over to where it was and slide my bottom across the floor, and then go over and grab it and start playing with it. And that was my normal way of moving before I could walk. And then I found out that some other people used to do that as well. They didn't know how to crawl, or they couldn't crawl, so they did that as well. But then I remember Mum saying to me that one day I was in the lounge room. I think I was about 14 months. So it took me a little bit longer to start to walk, even though I could see my mum and dad and my older brother walking. But finally, for some reason, one day, I think it was in 1963, because I was born in 62, but in 1963, I started to get onto next to the lounge, and I just started to sort of push myself and wiggle myself up on to the lounge, and I just sort of leant against it, and then the next thing I started taking steps, and then I think Mum heard a thud. I don't know whether I fell backwards or on my head, but she felt a thud. So she just quickly looked around the corner to see how I was. Because I'm not sure if we had floorboards at that time or whether we did have carpet straight away, or at least a mat. But anyway, I did, and that's how I got up. I got up once I got strong in my legs. I could just get up then, but I think I started by pushing up against the lounge and getting up and starting and going for a walk. So that's how I started to walk. But these were things, as I said, that I had to figure out myself because I needed to know how to get up. And of course, Mum, if we were in a hurry, Mum would help me get up. You know, we'd have to go somewhere and she'd get me up, of course. But it's just amazing how the Lord gave me that ability to think about how I was going to do things. And when I was little, that just helped me so much. But now that I'm older, it's sort of doing overtime in my brain. Sometimes I overthink things and it's a little bit hard. So then when I realize I'm doing that, I just have to stop, take a breath, and just carry on. And anyway, so then that sort of brought me back to a memory, or the Lord brought me back to a remembrance. And I remember later on, when I was around 7 or 8 years of age, having a big red scooter, pretty much like the one that's going to come up on your screen now. And I love that scooter. That was just so amazing. And I could ride it by myself, and I just felt so free. And I think you can see there's a stand that it used to stand on, but also on the back wheel there's a brake that you could put on if you're going down the hill. So I learnt to use that and see where the bars are. I would sort of bend over, put my right arm and my left and bend down like sort of like this. And at times I'd use my chin to sort of get ready and organised. Wouldn't always put it on there, but just help me get it steady. And then I would ride it down our steep driveway, which is the next picture, which is our house. And you can't really see it, but I'm just showing you that it's like on the lower side of Charles Street. And to the right of the picture, where the lounge room windows are, to the right of that, you can sort of just see a car, and that's where our garage was. And we would go down that driveway. So, and I loved to ride it. Every time I was home or on the weekends, I'd love to ride it down. And I would ride it every time I could down the driveway, perfecting it and as I practiced. I would always push it back up the top, I'd put my hands in my chin, just walk it up to the top of the hill. And at the top I would steady myself and think, oh yeah, okay, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, and then I push myself, and of course, going down the steep. To me, it was steep, but it wasn't that steep as some of the driveways are today. But to me, it was steep, and I would go down first cautiously with my foot on that little brake, and then when I felt safe and steady, I'd go a little bit faster and put my foot on the brake before reaching the garage. And sometimes I missed the garage, but other times I hit it. But and you'd hear this bang. I don't know what my dad thought about it, but I didn't dent it too much, but sometimes there were a few dents in it. So that was quite funny. And I got to tell you this story. This is so funny. Another day I did that. There were lots and lots and lots of black little ants all over our driveway. They were all over and they were very busy. There must have been rain coming because that's what we used to say. Oh, there must be rain coming. The ants are out. I said, it's all right though. I won't be bothered by them. They won't scatter and go up to get on me. But I was totally wrong because when I scooted down, they got on me all over. I ran into the house and I was saying, Mum, they're all over me. Quick, get them off, get them off. So she's trying to get them off me. And I'm saying, no, they're still there. And she had to take my dress off because I had a dress on. And oh, it was just so, I'll still never forget it. But it was just a really stupid thing to do. But I did it anyway. And it was wild. And they were only the tiny black ones, you know. But I think I got bitten a few times, so I never did that again. When I saw the ants there, I thought, no, not going to do that again. But anyway, I just wanted to share that funny part of my life. And but now I'm going to move on. I was free to try everything and try and be a normal kid in my own way. Of course, it was different to others, but I had fun and plenty of bumps and scrapes along the way and tumbles. And of course, being a young kid, and you know how the other kids show off and say, well, look what I can do, and look what I can do. Well, that's what I do. So, in these next pictures, I've got some other pictures, one of me in front of the tree. It's just to say that I was standing on the driveway, and that was halfway down the driveway. So about there, I started picking up speed, and I started to think, oh, I need to get slower. So I need to put more pressure on the brake. And if I didn't do it then, I would hit the garage. Otherwise, if I did it then, I would be okay. And the other picture of my brother and sister and myself, that's towards the garage. And it went to, the garage was not, it was just there. So I was just saying it was quite long. And the next one that I have is when that's my pup dog Ruth that Mum was looking after, that Pastor Robin gave me because no one was buying the puppy. So I said I'll take one. Because when I used to go over to their place, Ruth used to jump on my lap. She was just a special dog, so I knew I had to get her. But I'm just showing you the garage where it came to. I mean, I know it's open, but there was a door there. Or sometimes I'd go down the driveway when the garage was open, and I'd hit the car. So, but it was okay. I made it. It didn't. I wasn't too bruised, thankfully. But it was so much fun. The freedom I felt riding that down that driveway on the scooter. I can't explain it, really. It's like, you know, when other guys and girls get to ride bikes and they just ride for ages. It's just like, wow, the freedom you have just riding. It's unexplainable. But anyway, going back to the tumbles, I was talking about tumbles. I would try to do the roly-polies. You know, when the little ones do roly-polies, they say, oh, watch me, see what I can do. I can roly-poly. Well, I tried it a few times. Sometimes I did it okay. But there were other times when I would use my head. I'd put my head on the ground and I'd flip my body over. And a lot of the time it was okay. But there was sometimes when I tried to do it like sort of a low ground backflip, but it hurt my head and my neck and back one time. And I thought, no, I'm never doing that again, because I knew my back and my neck were important to me. So I would just watch after that. And then I'd be always saying, oh, be careful, watch your neck, don't do this, don't do that, just to myself. But because I could feel the pain that if you did it wrong, it wasn't a very nice feeling. So, anyway, growing up, I did try a lot of different things. I mean, I would always try, like we do, we always try and do better to our sisters or brothers and say, oh, look at me, or do this and that. But my sister could run along, like we had a little low fence, and my sister could run along that very quickly. But because of my learning of falling and bruises and bumps, I would always go cautiously slower because my legs were my balance. And if I felt overbalanced, it was not nice falling because I would fall. Although I learnt to flip, I sometimes would fall on my back. If I was going to fall on my front, I'd flip and try and get on my back. But because sometimes it was fast, I'd end up falling on one of my hips, and that hurt as well. So I had to be very, very careful. And I remember another time we were all walking home from school one day, and there was this really old shack up on Windsor Road as we walked past. So one day we thought, my friends and I thought we'd knock on the door and we'd run away because we knew someone lived in there, like you do. And we knocked on the door and we all go, oh no, don't do that. And we ran. Anyway, we were running along the footpath and I didn't realise there was about a bit of a footpath was about an inch up from the other one, and my foot tripped over it, and I actually did my first somersault in the air, but landed very hard on my back, and winded me. It didn't hurt my back, but it winded me. And then, of course, we were still running, so they go, "Are you okay?" And I get up as quick as I can with my school bag on my shoulder, and I get up as quick as I can, and we're still running. But then when we felt safe, which was at the corner of Charles Street, I go, yeah, I'm okay now, I'm okay. And then they'd start laughing, and I'd say, what? And they said they never saw me do a flip like that before. It was so funny. But it felt good, even the flip in the split seconds that I had. But anyway, it's really, really funny. But it's just knowing the freedom that I could do things and try to be as normal. I had friends that treated me normally, but there were others that were a bit, overbearing, which I didn't like. But I had twin friends, Kath and Karen, and they were very helpful because their mum and my mum actually went to school together as well. So I took a special bond in that. And also, I would try and run around kicking the ball and try and play with my brother, who I knew was playing soccer. But of course, I got upset when he was able to take the ball away from me, and I'd just walk off in a huff. And so that was that. I spoilt my brother's game of football at home, just practicing. But there was another time I remember swimming, and I remember, I think it was a school carnival in year 6 or 5 or 6, and they would let me swim, but of course I was the last because I had no arms, to pull myself like the rest of them. But I remember I would swim on my front and I was pretending that I was beating up everyone. I was pretending, oh yeah, I'm up the front, I'm beating. But then when I looked up and around me and saw I wasn't getting too far at all, I got very upset about that, and it really, knocked me down. But Mum would always say, it's okay, just try again. But I thought I was doing something, because in my mind I thought I was getting bigger, quicker, because my legs were quite strong and that was kicking me. But of course, I never won any of those races. But I love to swim better on my back. I felt safer and better on my back because, one, that was how I was taught to swim, was if I was to ever fall in the pool, to turn on my back and just kick and get to the side, and then I'd put my arm up and grab onto the side where I could. But swimming was another way I could feel free, and I felt I just looked up at the sun and the sky and just loved how beautiful the blue sky was and the clouds. And it was just so good. And the Lord just, with every part of my aspect of my life, he just helped me do things, helped me to figure it out. Now, I had to do a drawing, or I had to navigate a way around something, or when I went bushwalking, I couldn't always walk the same way as the others because they'd be able to put their hand down if they fell. I'd have to look around at which way I could go, or how far I could step up, because it wasn't always easy. I had long legs, but they weren't that long, and the others, of course, would pull themselves up. I remember we went on a school bushwalking or hiking in the bush, and I remember I didn't have sand shoes on because I thought I didn't want to. And I had like a thongs, I think, of all things. And then next thing feel this sting in the back of my foot, and it was a bull ant biting into me. I'd trodden onto or near the bull ant, and he grabbed onto me and bit me. Gee, that hurt for a days. But anyway, I just was able to bushwalk with no shoes, barely no shoes. I had thongs on mainly because of the twigs and things like that. But these were the things and obstacles I had to try, and I've shared a bit about before about me. I used to write with my foot all the way up until year 3. And then in year 3, I found out the teacher wanted me to write with my hand. And that was a very big struggle. It took me ages to perfect that. But I got through it, and the Lord helped me. I mean, I had a lot of tears in the classroom and at home, but I got through it. And it just shows me that as we go through struggles in life, in our journey, that we can get through that. And the Lord, especially those who have the Lord as their Lord and Saviour, we can get through them a lot easier because we've got someone to help us and give us a helping hand. And that's what I loved about Jesus, was that he always was there when I needed him. And I just had so much freedom in my life. Even though I said before thalidomide was a life sentence, it didn't stop me from doing what I wanted to do. I think it was mainly when I thought about it that I stopped myself from doing things I could do. But there are things I won't do, and one of them is bungee jumping. And another thing is going up ladders without ladders that you see down. I won't go up them because I literally break out in sweat because I get so nervous. Not because I can fall, but it's more because of what would happen if I fall and how high up it is. It's really nerve-wracking. And I think that came from that time when I was 9 and I went up the slippery dip when I went with my dad to the park to watch a cricket match. I just kept going up this 6-foot slippery dip. It was the greatest thing ever. But by the 10th or 20th time, I must have aimed my grab for my arm to get up the ladder, and I fell backwards. I was almost to the top, and I fell backwards on my back, and I broke this left side shoulder blade, clavicle, sorry, and it was very painful. And as I said, the funny thing was my dad wasn't watching. The guy who was batting had to stop the game and explain, somebody's just fallen off the slippery dip. So anyway, and that slippery dip there was for a long time. And I think it's only in the last 10 years it's been gone. They got rid of it because there was no sand at the bottom. There was no soft things. It was all hard ground. And we had 4 swings on either side of it. So it was really, I guess that could be part of the reason why I'm afraid of heights. But I did take Luke with me one time on an excursion. We went to the Centrepoint Tower, and I think it was when they were starting to put that glass platform out where people could walk on it and look down, and there was no way I was going to do that. I would not. I was actually in the middle of the round part of the building. I would not go too far to the edge, except if there was like a window edge. I could look out over that way, but I always had to look straight. I could never look down because it freaked me out. And but I thank the Lord for that. Oh, and the other thing is, I don't think I will ever, by the grace of God, climb the harbour bridge either. It is too scary. I know some have. I know Auntie Betty did, and she loved it, and a few others went. But I'm sorry to say I won't be doing that. So, but all the best, and God bless those who do it. I'm sure it's a beautiful experience. So the main thing what I'm trying to say is that even though I did have this disability, I was able to be free and to be me. And I thank the Lord for that, because also I can drive, you know that, and as you met one of my sons, I was able to get married and have a family. So there were things that I really wanted to do, and I did them. I wanted to get my license, and I did it. And it was all through the grace of God and His love for me. And it was a real blessing to have Him as by my side. And He is my Lord and Saviour, and I love Him so much. And He helps me through every trial, whether it's big or small. I just can pray and know that He's always there with me. And He was also helping me to, as I stayed active, to be creative as well. And creative meaning figuring out what to do or how to do certain things. I mean, you know, even putting makeup on. I know from the age of 12, I used to be able to do putting cleanser, toner, and moisturizer on my face with my toe. And I'm sure my toes is as soft and smooth as my face is because I've been doing it for so long. But now, because I've put on a little bit more weight and I'm a little bit less expendable or bendy, I have to figure out another way of doing it. So I actually use my finger, and I use my kitchen sink to help me put it on, lean on the tap and wipe it on my face with my finger and stuff. And just sort of, even the same thing with makeup. Even though I've been blessed with a beautiful lady called Lisa who put my makeup on every week. I love every time I do the podcast, and I love that. It's so much better. But I can put a little bit of makeup on if I have to. But generally I just walk around with the natural. So if you ever see me on the street and I look a bit plain, it's because I don't wear makeup like I have it on today. But I thank Lisa for that, and I just want to, she does a really good job, and I feel really pretty. She also does my hair as well. So, because, you know, as I said before, I've got my beautiful husband at home who does my hair, just ties it up, but sometimes he doesn't do the finer details because he's a bloke. But, you know, he's done the best he can all these last years all these years we've been married, so I take my hat off to him for that, and always being there and helping me with my hair and getting dressed. So, but the Lord has really, really blessed me, and I just want to say thank you to the Lord for letting me be free to be who I am. And now I've just got to realize to be free as who I am emotionally, and stop pretending to be someone I'm not, because I'm not someone else. I'm me. I'm Suzanne Jerome, or Suzanne McMahon growing up, and Suzanne Jerome now that I'm married. So the Lord has really given me the ability, and I thank Him for it. Like He's given all of us an ability to be active and creative. And I can never thank the Lord for what he's done for me. Once I got past the reality that it wasn't him that made me this way, but it was man interfering in my life. But because of that, I'm still a Christian today, and I still hang on to the Lord, and I love him very much. I'm still going through trials too. I'm not exempt by that, but I know that I've got him in me and beside me and on my side. And I want to be on his side. It's not a matter of him being on my side, it's me being on his side and ready to follow him and do what he wants me to do. Because I do have a purpose. My life is a purpose for telling Jesus to other people and telling them about Jesus and how I get through things. And I know sometimes I've said to people have said, "Oh, you're lovely" and all that, and I haven't said it's because of Jesus. I said thank you, but it's because Jesus is a big part of my life, and he's made me the person I am today. And as I said, I'm not perfect. I still have my grumpy days. I still get angry at Wayne or disappointed. But I thank the Lord that he's pulling me up on that now, and other people as well. And he's pulling me up on that now because I realize that that's not going to help them, and it's not going to help me change. I just have to spend time with my Lord and get and ask him to change me, because I can't change myself. But I can have different mindsets and different ideas that this is how the Lord wants me to be. So, on saying that, I just want to say thank you to my crew, Kaylem behind the cameras, Lissa for the makeup and the hair, and my son Luke for coming on to the podcast. And for you out there who are watching and listening, I hope that it helps you in your day-to-day walk in your life within yourself. And I hope that and pray that by the grace of God, someday, if you don't already know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you will accept him into your life and get to know him as well. Because he is the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings and Creator of heaven and earth. And he loves you so much. You are his if you want him to be yours. So, thank you, everyone. Love you all. God bless you. Until next time.